Guys, it's official. Run DFW is back in the 2025 TBT tournament that will be taking place this summer. But that's not all. Leading up to that, we have a lot of very exciting things that we're going to be rolling out for you, including our Beyond the Arc podcast, our Coach's Corner with Jake and Tebow, and other content that we will be posting on our YouTube. So make sure that you go subscribe and like all of those videos because we're going to be spamming you with the highest quality basketball content around. And if you're looking for ways that you can become interactive, be on the lookout for a fan club that we're going to be launching very soon so that way you can support us and we can give it right back at you. On top of all of that, over these next few months leading up to the tournament, we're going to be looking for ways to interact with our community and get involved with all of you guys because we want to build this fan base and we want to thank you guys for supporting us in all of the ways that you do. So on behalf of all of Run DFW, I want to thank you and all of the support that you guys provide us in building the Dallas basketball community. Stay in touch with everything going on here at Run DFW so that way we can go win this TBT in the summer.
Welcome to episode 7 of the Beyond the Arc podcast. My name is Braden Griffiths, and I'm here with the legendary Coach Jeremie Hart himself. How are you feeling?
I feel good, man. I feel good. I appreciate you having me.
For sure, man. Thank you for coming on. We're just going to jump right into it. First things first, just wanted to ask you about kind of like how you fell in love with basketball, how you got started, and then kind of like how you started your playing career.
So I grew up in the South Dallas area, over by the State Fair, and obviously South Dallas is an area of poverty, not a lot of promise over there. So growing up in the inner city, I wasn't into, the normal things that kids where I'm from grew up in liking. Obviously, it was the wrong things, drugs and guns and violence and stuff like that. So I always wanted to try to find something that would help me, get out of my neighborhood. And I took a liking to basketball at a young age, maybe like 9 years old. And my brother played, so he was kind of like my idol. So I watched him play. I fell in love with it. And since about 9 years old, man, I've been bouncing the ball, and so that's kind of where my love comes from. Love of the game comes from, and how I got started.
Would you say ever since 9 years old, like you said, you knew you wanted to play in college, you knew you wanted to play professionally, or how did that all come together? When did you know you could be a pro?
I don't know exactly when I knew I could be a pro, but I've had those thoughts since about high school. I remember my freshman year of high school, just sitting in class one day, and how you just in class and you're daydreaming and stuff like that about what you want to be. And I wanted to be a professional basketball player one day, and I figured that if I worked really hard and got a little grace from God, that I could possibly be a pro one day. And I thought about it all the time. I dreamt about it all the time, and it ended up happening for me. So real blessed to be able to have played the game for a while. For sure.
Just kind of reflecting back, would you say there were any specific moments in your journey that kind of shaped the way your career went? Were there any people that kind of came into your life where you were man, they had a huge impact on my development as a player and as a person?
Like I said, my brother was a star player in Dallas. He played at Madison High School back when Chris Bosh was in high school. Him and my brother was rivals. Chris Bosh actually played at Lincoln. My brother played at Madison. I used to go to those games, those Lincoln and Madison games. Those were some of the best high school basketball games that I ever seen. I think if Ball is Life and these media guys was around back then, man, it would have been amazing. I'll never forget at Lowe's Fieldhouse, Lincoln and Madison played against each other. My brother's senior year, Chris Bosh sophomore year. I think to this day it's the most packed game ever at Lowe's Fieldhouse. It was standing room only. Literally if the ball went out of bounds, someone had to catch it and give it to the referee. That's how packed it was. I was a ball boy for Madison, so I was on the floor with my brother, and just seeing him play against Chris Bosh and have a great game. And Brian Hopkins was another great player that was out there. He played at SMU. He should have been a McDonald's All-American. He was actually the best player on the floor. He was a freshman actually, and those were some of the moments that kind of inspired me to want to become a good player and play college basketball and play professional basketball.
For sure. You talked about Chris Bosh and your brother, obviously, like being from Dallas. Like, were there any specific guys in Dallas that you looked at like those guys are the best players in the area?
Yeah. So when I was young, my brother came home one day, and I keep saying my brother because he was my favorite player, and I admired him so much, and I took what he said. Everything that he told me, like, I held on to it.
Yeah.
So, and my brother was a hard critic. So he came home one day, and I never forget, he came home one day and he was talking to me about basketball, and I'm a little kid and he's in high school, and he's telling me about high school basketball and about the guys he's playing against. And he was like, bro, I played with a dude today. He was so dang good. His name Andre Emmett. and I'm like, yeah, I don't know who he is.
Yeah.
He just like, yeah, man, this dude's so nice, man. And I love hooping with him. He's just so good. And that was the first time I heard Dre's name, and my brother just admired Dre, and they was around the same age. And from then I started following Dre, and like, Andre Emmett, Brian Hopkins, my brother Robert Hart, like those guys are some of the guys that I kind of think of when I was a young age. Daniel Horton, Jason Horton, those guys are the guys that I kind of think of when I was a young player.
Yeah, like we were kind of talking about before. Like, everybody talks about Dre like with such high regard, like true like local legend. Do you have any like favorite Dre stories?
Yeah, one of my favorite Dre stories. I can't remember what year it was exactly, but we was playing pickup or having a pro run over on Hall Street at a gym we used to use on Hall Street in 75, and we would play there Monday through Friday. We was playing Monday through Friday. Summertime, all the pros is there. It's a great run, and I asked Dre to come play one day, and he was like, text me back and was like, I'm not gonna be able to make it today. I'm moving, and I really wanted him to come that day because it was a great group that was gonna be there that morning. So I was like, man, I'll come help you move if you could make the run. And he thought I was playing, and he sent me the address. I pulled up on him, helped him, whatever. He came and played, and it was just a great run. It was guys like Willie Warren in there, Gary Flowers, and him and Willie had some great battles in there. And I think that day is actually the day he had his big chain on, and he just showed out. It was one of them days that I just remember that he was just so much better than everybody in the gym, and you just look up and he got, a expensive chain on,
hooping in the expensive chain,
and he's just dominating the gym, and I'm really looking at him like, man, this dude is real.
Yeah.
This dude is the real deal. That's a story that kind of stick out to me, and it wasn't. And the reason why that story sticks out to me is because it was like slightly after is when he, was shot and killed. So that moment kind of sticks with me because it was one of the last kind of moments that I had with him.
Right. So just kind of to jump back into your playing career, and we'll go to college. Like, were there any favorite moments in college or any favorite spots? I know you went to a few different schools. Like, when you look back on it, like, what are your takeaways, kind of?
I went to junior college at Paris Junior College. I went to McClinton Junior College in Waco, and my junior college days I feel like are the days that I learned, tough lessons. I learned adversity. I dealt with a lot of adversity. I felt like I was a good basketball player. I was a Division I basketball player, but my work ethic and my attitude wasn't, and which hindered me from going Division I because, I wasn't as disciplined, as focused as I should be, And, at Paris, I started on our team. I lost my starting job, got into some off-the-court issues, and ended up having to transfer. And I go to McLendon, and then I started to excel on the court. But, my classwork digressed, and I wasn't a great student. And so I just went through different types of adversity in my first 2 years playing basketball. And it really taught me a lot if I wanted to play and if I wanted to really do this, that I needed to, to do certain things to get there. And so just having to go through those moments, those low moments, I think prepared me to really excel by the time I got to McMurray and really stay focused and driven on what it was that I was trying to accomplish, which was becoming a professional basketball player.
For sure, and those lessons stick with you forever too. Like, I feel like that definitely applies like to anything you do in life. I know for me, on my end, like, it didn't always go my way in college. Like, had to wait my turn before I really got to like play and be in the rotation and affect winning. And I had to like kind of go through that adversity and stick it out. Like, how would you say that kind of applies to your coaching career now? Is there anything like you think going through that like has kind of helped you post career?
Yeah, so just to touch on what you said, like something that I always say is run your own race. And the reason why I always talk about running your own race is because I remember when I was going through my adversity my freshman and sophomore year of college, wasn't no social media around, but I would look around and the guys I played AAU with in high school with, I played with some pretty powerful guys. I played AAU with C.J. Miles and Darrell Arthur, Kevin Rogers, Jarrell Hastings, Austin Johnson, and all of these guys were high-level Division I players with five-star guys. And I'm looking around when I'm dealing with my adversity my sophomore year of college, like, man, my teammates are doing this. He's at Baylor. My teammate is at Oklahoma. My teammates at Oklahoma State. They're doing this. And here I am struggling in JUCO trying to figure it out. And at that moment, I didn't have nobody to tell me this, but I kind of realized it on my own, like, man, I just need to stay focused on my journey and don't look to the left, don't look to the right, and just lock in on myself. And, and I always say, like, I call myself the turtle, and just, if I can just be that turtle, then one day I'll come out on the other side. And, I'll never forget, I think I was about 25, 26 years old. I was in my prime playing pro ball, and I ran into somebody who had not seen me since high school, and they was just like, man, I just can't believe, the player that you become. I remember you, in high school and what you was, and look, see how much better you got. Like, man, you dominating pros and guys who were top players and when they was in high school, and it just kind of gave me that validation that, what I stuck to became true, and that my hard work, paid off, and me not veering to the left and veering to the right, So that's kind of like, as a coach, what I inspire to tell kids, like, don't worry about, this person and what they got and the offers that they got and, how many highlights and views that they got. Like, just stay focused on your journey and getting better, a little bit better every day, and what God has for you is going to be for you.
For sure. And kind of like what you said, like, once you're able to like come out on that other side and kind of push through that adversity, it just makes it so much sweeter.
No doubt.
It makes the win so much sweeter.
Every championship team needs reliable players, and in the kitchen, your equipment is your starting lineup. You need stainless steel solutions that perform under pressure, help you stay in the game, and finish the job. That's where Advanced Tabco's Smart Fabrication comes in. Just like a professional team trusts this MVP, you can trust Smart Fabrication to help you with all of your kitchen needs. From work tables to sinks to custom fabrications, Advanced Tabco delivers precision, durability, and excellence to help you win on every play. Whether you're running a fast food service kitchen or you're being meticulous about every detail, Smart Fabrication is built for the high stakes of food service. It's designed to help you optimize your space, maximize your workflow, and get consistent results every single time. And in a world where every second counts, there's no room for turnovers. That's why Advanced Tabco Smart Fabrication is your go-to teammate for building a kitchen that works just as hard as you do. Ready to bring home your food championship? Visit advancedtabco.com and get the equipment that helps you deliver the win.
So just kind of transitioning into your professional career, like, what was that journey like for you? Like, where did you get started? Where was your, like, when was the last year of your career? Did you have any favorite spots?
Yeah, so it was kind of unique because I think my my junior year of college, I told you this off air. My junior year of college, I was considered a junior because I lost a year from the Division II I was at, and so I was considered a junior. I played my whole year thinking that I was coming back to school at McMurray, and I had 2 years to play. And I was, All-American. I led the conference in rebound, and I led the conference in scoring. I put up, some really good numbers in college, but I was set on coming back another year and trying to win the championship and things like that. But I was told that, I didn't get my year back, so I had to turn pro. So the first opportunity, the job opportunity that I got, I jumped at and I signed it. And that's kind of one regret that I wish I would have waited. I think we lost in the conference tournament in March, and I signed my contract maybe in June, and I should have waited until July, August, and kind of see what else was out there. And I went to Ecuador in South America and played out there. It was a great experience, won a championship, learned a lot. It was a low-level league, but I had to work my way up. So I learned a lot there, and from there, I was able to get one job and get another one from there. So
For sure. So you mentioned Ecuador. Like, where were kind of some of the other countries that you were able to go to, and then did you kind of have a favorite one?
Yeah, so I played in South America, Mexico, Asia, Africa, and Canada. So I kind of bounced around, all over. Favorite place? I really don't have a favorite place. I have different experiences. Everywhere that I've played had pros and cons. Morocco was very, very beautiful. It was very nice. Had some on-the-court stuff that I didn't like, but the off-the-court stuff was great. Mongolia was okay. Probably one of my tougher experiences, getting sick out there back in 2017. But probably Mexico, just because I played there a few different times and won a couple of championships and had great experiences out in Mexico. So I would probably say Mexico.
Nice. So one thing that I was really excited to kind of ask you about, and obviously we were just kind of getting to know each other, so one thing that I really enjoyed learning is just kind of about like how you got started with player development. So kind of like just walk me through like that journey for you, how you got started, and then also like I'm sure your professional playing career, like it can really help you relate to your guys that you're training on a whole different level. So what are those relationships like? How did you get started with the whole player development thing?
So now that I don't want to say I'm just this guru or anything like that, but just my walk with God has showed me a lot. And you go through things and you realize, like, are you asking yourself, why are you going through? I'm like, man, why am I going through this? What is this for? Like, man, this is tough. And as I've gotten older and I can hear God's voice, I understand now what my purpose is and why I went through those things when I was younger. So going back to college, when I was at McMurray, I told you I went through adversity in JUCO. So when I got to McMurray, I said, man, look, you want to be a pro? I told myself this, like, you want to be a pro, you got to freaking lock in and develop some habits and some discipline and work ethic, because you're at a Division III. Like, if you're gonna be a pro, like, you got a lot of people to pass, So I had to really lock in and focus. So I used to get up at 6 a.m. My college coach, he was the only coach. He didn't have an assistant, so he would wake up with me, let me in the gym. I would work out, then go to class at 8 a.m. It was something that I had never did before, but it also started to teach me some discipline. And I would have good games and have success, and I would have 25, 30 points. And the next day, I would be texting him like, Coach, can you open the gym in the morning? And my teammates would be like, man, you're crazy. Like, man, what are you doing? Like, because everybody don't have those goals and those dreams, so they thought I was crazy. But I was like, man, I'm trying to be a pro one day. And I would literally be in the gym by myself, and I can still remember those days where I would sit there and like just literally sit on the floor with the ball and just imagine, like, man, I'm gonna work on this, I'm gonna work on that, and I would create drills in my head, because my college coach, he had things to do. Like, he didn't work me out like that. It wasn't really even a thing then, especially that at the lower level. So I would work myself out. And once I became a pro, the guys that I used to train with, we all used to work out together, and I would be the one leading our workouts. And we all playing pro ball, and we working out together, rebounding for each other, things of that nature. But I was the one leading the workout. And at the time, I didn't realize I was the one leading the workout. Yeah. And so to answer your question, when it was time for me to start doing player development and things like that, I would come home in the summer, and I would go to my stepson's practice, and I remember a parent asking me, like, "Hey, man, can you work with my son?" It's just literally after blue, just asking me, can I work with his son? It's like, man, your wife and people told me you play professional basketball. I was just wondering, can you work with my son? And I'm just like, man, I can't work with your son. I don't know what to do with him. Like, I never trained nobody. And every time I seen this guy, he would ask me to work with his son. Like, and when I say every time, I'm not exaggerating. I would go to practice, go to my son's game, and the guy would see me and say, "You ready to work with my son? You got me?" And, I finally took him up on it. His son was in the 6th grade. I started working with him, and a couple more people did the same, asked me to work with their kids. And, I started to take a liking to it, and one thing kind of led to another. And I just had one group of kids, 4 or 5 kids that I was working with, and these kids started to get better and better and better. And, I got that same feeling and joy when I was playing. And I was like, man, when I get done playing, I don't know what is going to take place from me actually going to go hoop, because that feeling of going to go hoop was the best feeling in the world. So I didn't know what was going to, take that spot, and it was actually coaching. So I'm like, man, I kind of love this stuff. Like, I get that same feeling when I play. So that's kind of how I got into it, and, fell in love with it. And one thing led to the next, and those kids got better, and,
Right, yeah. So you've had you've been able to work with, like, so many, like, great players over the years, like the Trey Johnsons, the Dink Pates, the King Graces. Like, what are those, like, how awesome for you has it been? How rewarding is it, like, to be able to build those relationships, and then to also watch, like, how you've been able to impact their career?
Yeah, it's been very rewarding. I didn't get into player development because, it was just a popular thing, or what people was doing, or, or anything like that. I feel like, I got into player development because it was a calling from God, and God showed me what he had for my life, and put me in other people's lives at the time where they needed me. And, so I don't take none of that for granted. A friend of mine who's not even in basketball watched me work with a player, and he was the one who actually told me, like, hey, man, you're pretty good at this stuff. Like, you need to start documenting. You need to start, monitoring these kids' progress. You need to record y'all workouts and things like that. And I was like, nah, I don't really want to do that. And he was like, nah, you need to do it. Yeah. And, so I ended up doing it, and which I'm grateful to do it, because now I can go back and look at, I was able to, one, see those kids' progress and what we was getting better at. And then now, years later, like, I'm able to go back and look and see, things that we worked on, whether it's Trey or whether it's Dink or Danis or Mike, Miles, or King Grace, or these guys. And I'm able to see, like, old videos from years ago, from the time that we was putting in work together. So it's been a blessing.
For sure. Yeah, one thing that you mentioned a few minutes ago was you were talking about in college, like, waking up at 6 a.m. to get your workouts in, no matter if you played great the night before, whether you played bad, no matter what, you were going to get in there at 6 a.m. How important for you, like, to you, is establishing a routine for young players? Because I know for me, I just came in the game and shot 3. So it's like, I got to get to the gym every single day and get my work in, and it's going to look like this. And once I established my routine, it changed everything for me, like, from a confidence standpoint, from a performance standpoint. How important for you is routine, and then how do you kind of help young players establish their routines?
It's very important. In high school, people laugh when I say this, but in high school, I could count on my hands how many times I worked out. in 4 years. I never worked out. I was a straight hooper. I wanted to hoop only when it was time to hoop. When practice was over, we would 1, 2, 3 break. I'll be the first one in the locker room, and I'll be out of there. I only wanted to hoop. I didn't really know you're supposed to get extra shots up or you're supposed to work on your ball handling. Back during that time, I would watch and one mixtapes and go outside and try to emulate what they was doing and then just go hoop. Like, I didn't have no work ethic. And so that's kind of like my one regret from high school is that I wish I would have developed that work ethic and routine, sooner. But I didn't have no one to teach me that or tell me that neither. And when I just made that commitment and decision at McMurray to do that, I saw myself really progressing. And then when I saw myself getting better and progressing, I'm like, man, it became addicting. Like, man, I see myself, I feel myself getting better. I feel myself getting more confident. And it's all because of the routine that I developed. And, for young guys, I would say, like, as a pro, when I had the ultimate routine, I was in the gym daily in the summertime preparing for my next job. So I understood how important a routine really is. So if I'm talking to a young player, like, man, developing a routine as young as you can is essential, because if you can do that, man, you're ahead of the game. Because I'm a college coach, and I see college guys who don't have a routine right now. I see pro guys, some of them that don't have a routine and just kind of floating. And then when you do that, your game floats. You're inconsistent, and the guys that's consistent, they have the same routine every day, and it's just like clockwork.
For sure. Yeah, 100%. So kind of moving on, let's talk about your coaching career a little bit. We kind of talked about it a little bit before, just like kind of how you made that career transition after playing. And obviously player development was a big part of that. But just kind of walk me through, like, the past few years for you, because it's obviously included numerous different stops, and now you're back in the city. So what has this experience kind of been for you? And, yeah.
It's been great. I think about 2019, 2020 is when I decided to really just hang my shoes up and be done playing. And I got a call from a team in Canada who offered me to come play, but my body was breaking down. I knew I couldn't play no more. So my agent, he called me back, and I told him no. And my agent called me back and was like, "Hey, man, they want you to come coach and be the player development guy if you're not gonna play." And I was just like, man, I don't know. Like, I've been working with kids in Dallas, but I don't know if I can go coach a pro team, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, and these guys were my peers, guys some of them that I knew, that I played against, things like that. And I ended up doing it. COVID hit, we lost our job. We was having a great year. We lost our job. I came home, and I was at that breaking point to where I didn't, obviously we didn't know what was going on during COVID, how long we would be in it. Nobody knew what the next day looked like. And my college coach, he called me one day during COVID, and he asked me, he said, what you going to do now, once COVID's over, things like that, where you going to coach at? And I was like, I don't know, maybe a pro team. And I'm just making stuff up, and he's like, nah, man, that's not good. You need a plan. You need to go back to school and get your degree and be a college coach. I see you as a high-level Division I coach. I see you coaching on TV. He's telling me all these things, and like, I see you coaching at a big university in the SEC and the Big 12, ACC, and I'm seeing you on TV, and he's putting all these things in my head. All I could think about is him telling me that I need to go back to school. Because in my head, I had knew how much I squandered the opportunity 10 years ago of graduating. I knew I didn't have 3 hours. I knew I didn't have 6 or 9. I knew it was a crazy number. I didn't know what that number of hours was, but I knew it wasn't close. So, I say, Coach, I appreciate you, man. I do. I love you, but I'm not going back to school. So we hang up, man, and a couple of days go by, and he calls me back and just wanted to check back in on you, man, about what I told you, and I think God just kind of spoke to me, and I said, all right, Coach, I'll look into it. Let's do it. He said, I got a spot for you my guy's the coach at Jeremie Hart and Baylor. I'm gonna get you on his staff. You go back to school, get your degree, and become a Division I head coach and go up from there. And I was like, all right, let's see what he do. And so I talked to Cliff Carroll. He brings me on. My first job at McMurray was to go sign a big recruit, a Division III recruit, who was Tyrese Prince. And Tyrese Prince, I mean, he was a Division I player, but he had some similar issues that I had when I played. So he played at Centenary, and I called the kid, and I didn't know how to recruit or anything like that. I called him, we talked. I ended up getting him. He signed, and he ended up becoming a Division III All-American. 2 years. He's playing in Argentina right now as a pro, and just changed his whole trajectory of his life. And my first recruit, and somebody that I'm really, really proud of. And going back to that time at UMHB, I sat with the advisor, and she told me that, yeah, Coach, you got 62 hours to graduate. You'll finish in 2023. And I looked at the lady. I said, no, we need a better plan. I'm trying to be done as fast as I can. And she was like, well, you can go 15 hours here, 18 hours here, 6 hours in the summer. And all these numbers is she's just saying, and I'm just sitting there looking at her like, oh, man, I might have to call Coach and tell him I can do this. So, but long story short, it was the adversity from my playing career at a young age that I dealt with that was able to help me persevere as a grown man and as a guy transitioning to coaching to get through that. I ended up passing those classes in 2 years. I graduated May 7th from UMHB, and Coach Tang called me, to talk to me about the opportunity to come to K-State, and the rest was kind of history. So.
In sports, success is not just about talent, it's about having the right tools to make every move count. That's where B1 Sports comes in. With next-level AI technology, we provide the tools so that way you can work harder, play smarter, and stay ahead of the competition. Just like a basketball team needs precise plays, you and your team need precise insights. B1 Sports combines artificial intelligence with sports science to give you all of the tools necessary so that you can stay ahead of the competition. It all comes down to making smarter moves, being one step ahead, and having faster decision making so that way you can win on and off the court. No matter what your game plan is, B1 Sports is your AI teammate that you can count on. Get ready to elevate your performance with data-driven AI technology that's always in your corner. Join the future of sports technology today at b1sports.com. It's time to play smarter, compete harder, and win bigger. Go to b1sports.com today.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. I remember you kind of walking us through that off air, the story of Coach Tang calling you and kind of like what that felt like.
Yeah.
And then obviously before that, weren't you planning on like kind of going a different route before the kind of Kansas State job opened up?
Yeah, so during that time, I was doing some pre-draft stuff, working with some guys, working with some different players, and trying to figure out what my direction was and where could I get in at coaching. I had just graduated. I felt the weight of the world off my shoulders, being the first person in my family to graduate, one of the few first people from my neighborhood to graduate. So I was super excited. It's like some of the best time in my life in 2022. Even though I didn't know what was next, I was just stuck in that moment to like, man, I just accomplished something that's really major. And I was doing some pre-draft stuff, and I got a job opportunity at a high school, and I was leaving out to get fingerprinted, and Coach Tang called me, and he told me that he had talked to the AD, and that he wanted to add another GA, and that GA was me. And he asked me if I wanted the opportunity, and I went home and told my wife that I was going to be a GA, and she was like, "What the heck is that?" And sat her down and explained to her what it was, and she was on board, and I moved out to Manhattan, and we ended up having a great year and going to the Elite Eight, and I got experience to work with Marquise Noel every day, and Keontae Johnson and Naquan Tomlin, and that year just taught me a whole lot about the business, about coaching, players, recruiting, the whole dynamic. I was able to learn so much and experience the NCAA tournament and going on a tournament run, a historical run. We were picked last in the Big 12, so that whole year was just a year that I'll never forget.
For sure. So I kind of want to talk about like the competitive landscape of coaching, because obviously it's a super competitive industry. A lot of people want to do it. It's really hard to get your foot in the door. Like, what tips would you have or advice would you offer like young coaches who want to get in the business, who want that GA job?
My advice would probably be to, don't look for the perfect situation. Like if you have a GA opportunity and maybe they're gonna give you a place to stay, but they're not gonna pay for your school, or they're gonna pay for your school but not give you a place to stay. Like, don't look for the perfect situation. If it's a good situation where you feel like the staff, you can grow under their staff and somebody that you feel like you can learn from, then I would say jump at it, because and I kind of feel like getting a GA job is almost harder than getting a full-time job, for real, because there's so many people that's trying to be GAs and things like that. I never forget the guys at K-State telling us how, like, people were emailing and just doing all kind of stuff, like, to wanting to be GAs, and it was hundreds and hundreds of guys. Like, so just imagine every Power 5 school, how many guys reach out to them, send emails or DMs or whatever the case may be, just wanting to be GA. So, I would say if you got an opportunity, man, you got to jump at it and go in there with an open mind to work your butt off and just be willing to be selfless and do whatever the team needs you to do and learn and grow, and, everything else will happen for you from there.
And I think a lot of people don't understand how much work it truly is.
Yeah.
And so, like kind of talk about that, like, as a GA, like, just the schedule and how, like, you kind of have to do, like you're kind of all over the place, right? Yeah,
so, like, at K-State, people would see, sometimes I would post it sometimes, stuff that they gave us, nice gear, and the Nike stuff or shoes or something like that, and just people would be like, oh, man, he's just – Jay Hart's up there just living his dream. He just, he's doing his thing. And I'm like, man, if y'all would only know what goes into this thing. At K-State, my daily routine was getting up at 6. We practice at like 9:30. Marquise would want to work out before practice, so I get there that early to work him out. We work out, go right into practice. After practice, he wanted to shoot right after, so we shot. I went upstairs to the bullpen and worked on film from practice and things that I needed to do, scout if it was my scout, if it was leading up to my scout, and then Marquise would want to come back at night. So I would get home literally about 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, and that was like my weekly routine, and so it's a lot of work, and I remember the first few games, maybe first 2 weeks, Marquise wasn't playing really well, wasn't playing up to his capability, and just down the stretch, got to the NCAA tournament. He was playing some of the best basketball. So I look back and, like, all those long days of being tired and sleepy and all those things, it was real rewarding, seeing him, really excel on the court and have a great tournament run and us getting to where we got to the Elite Eight, and it just lets you know that hard work really pays off,
For sure. So how how fulfilling is it now that, like, your coaching journey has kind of led you back to Dallas in this way, like to be back at SMU? Like, how special is that for you, I guess?
Oh, man, it's super special. We're 6 games left into this thing, and I still wake up every day man, I'm just like in awe of what God has done with my life and how He's led me back to being at home and being close to my family and coaching at the highest level. My family able to come watch me coach against Duke and North Carolina and see me on TV and things like that. And it's not about me. It's just so surreal, because it leads me back to that conversation I had with my college coach during COVID. Him telling me over the phone, and me and him talk often, and he's just like, I'm just like, Coach, I don't know how you prophesized this, but you told me this 4 years ago, like, man, that I would be in the position that I'm in, and I couldn't see it at all. So I wake up every day grateful and thankful to be in this position and to be at SMU during such an exciting time, and I'm just super, super grateful.
That's awesome, man. So we have a sponsored segment called Clutch Moments, presented by Clutch Shots AI. Just wanted to ask you, what is a clutch moment in your life? Could be, a clutch shot that you made in one of your pro or college games. Could be just something like a person stepping into your life at the right time. What was something that's happened to you along the way that's kind of made you who you are today?
Whew, man, I've had a couple clutch moments. One that I can think of playing-wise, I was raised by my mom and my grandma. My grandma is somebody that everybody know that's close to my heart. She raised me and did a lot for me, sacrificed a lot for me. She passed away in 2018. 2017, I was leaving Morocco, went to Mexico. She passed away in 2018. I was playing in the playoffs in Mexico. I just talked to her maybe the night before. And we had a game, playoff game the next day. I think I had about 65 the next day, and that was the last time I talked to my grandma. After that game, I talked to her, and she had told me that she was in the hospital, and so my family and her had kept it from me, obviously, because I was out of the country, and I was talking to her, but not knowing that she was in the hospital. So her being able to talk to her and experiencing that out-of-body experience of the game that I had never played a game like that in my life, scoring 65 points. It's like every shot that I shot went in. I can't even explain that feeling in that day. And talking to her after the game, that was a special moment in my life. And then off the court, just being the first person to graduate from my family, walking across that stage at UMHB May 7th in 2022 was just a clutch moment for my family, changing the trajectory of my family, my kids, just breaking a generational curse, so having something for my kids and my family to look up to chase, to be able to say we got a college graduate in our family.
For sure. That's awesome, man. Well, Coach Hart, thank you so much, man. Thank you for coming on the pod. Definitely enjoyed the conversation, and we'll definitely have to do this again sometime.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Be good.
Thank you for tuning into the Beyond the Arc podcast. If you have not already, make sure that you go ahead and like this episode and subscribe to our channel, and go follow our guest on all of their platforms that they may have. We will link them down below in the description. And make sure that you go follow us on our socials as well. We are preparing for the 2025 TBT tournament, and we are planning on making a very big and very exciting run. So make sure that you follow us to stay tuned with everything that we have going on here. And with all of that being said, keep on running.